day to each and everyone. You are here with me again, Coach Gene of Drafting Lifestyle, and we are up again for another video tutorial. Ang ituturo naman natin ngayon, or simply what we are going to discuss today, is how to draft a reflected ceiling plan. We already have the first working drawing, which is the site development plan, draft floor plan, draft roof plan, and susunod naman natin is to draft reflected ceiling plan. Ano nga ba ang draft reflected ceiling plan? As you can see on the screen, this is an example of a reflected ceiling plan drawing. Now, ano nga ba ang content ng isang drawing reflected ceiling plan? As you can see on this picture, we already have an example of a reflected ceiling plan which contains different symbols and as well as different details on how to complete the drawing of reflected ceiling plan. So, before we proceed, ano nga ba ang reflected ceiling plan? Here, it talks about another part of architectural working drawing or in planning is reflected ceiling plan or also known as the RCP. It is a drawing of a room or a building looking down at an interior ceiling. It shows the lighting, sprinklers, smoke detectors, and any objects that are located in or on the ceiling, such as the mechanical air diffuser, grills are included. Reflected ceiling plan or RCP is named so because it is a mirror image or what we know as reflected that is viewed on a floor plan looking up at the ceiling. As you can see on the picture, this is how they are going to project the drawing of reflected ceiling plan going upwards. Okay, so that is one of the things, that is one of way, or should I say the proper viewing on how to draft a reflected ceiling plan. There are terms and conditions or terms of definitions that you have to remember when you are going to have to draft ceiling plan. So of course I'm going to discuss everything about this, but if you want a copy of this, you just comment na lang po sa section area and I'm going to give you a copy. Okay, anyways, this is just a learning purposes. It does not intend to make money out of this learning resources because this is used only for educating and used as a learning material for high school, senior high school, and even college students for their drafting or AutoCAD works in their academics. Okay, so these are the terms that you have to remember when you are going to draft a reflected ceiling plan. So it talks about acoustics, the art of science or science of sounds in housing materials used to keep down the noise in a room. Of course, you have to have a ceiling in a structure. One, for the main reason, it is to reduce the heat that is coming directly from the roofing material that comes from the sun. So, ibig sabihin, umiinit ang bahay kapag walang ceiling. Okay, so dahil sa materials ng roofing, kasi metal sheet po siya. Also, when it comes during rainy season, lumalakas din ang tunog ng ulan or pagbagsak ng ulan sa roofing material simply because it does not have a ceiling which controls the sound or noise of the roof when it comes during rain. So, sample lang po siya. Okay, so, ganun po ang proper explanation sa kanya. Okay, we also have here ceiling joist, ceiling board, cornice. Cornice are also known as the molding. We have fixtures, mamaya pag-usapan natin siya, gypsum boards, hanger, and so on and so forth. Even includes Soffit, okay? So, it says here, importance of a ceiling or building or a structure, it prevents the penetration of the heat, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, of the sun inside the building. Second, it adds beauty inside the structure or the building, especially when it's well designed. So, of course, meron tayong mga modern designs ngayon na they are using PVC panels, yung mga bago na nakikita natin sa YouTube. It also includes native materials such as amakan or sawali ang tawag namin in layman's term. Also, it serves as a thermal insulator that adds aesthetic beauty of a house And lastly, various lighting fixtures can be hung or placed to highlight the interior design of the structure. So those are the important things that you have to remember when you are going to have a ceiling on your structure or in a structure. Okay? So here, we also have to take note of some what we call symbols that must be indicated sa inyong ceiling plan. So we have here for ceiling outlet, although it is part already on the electrical works, pero ito ang kanyang actual picture. Smoke detector, it looks like this. And then, the actual picture or the actual material of smoke detector. Sometimes you are very fond of using ceiling fan. Ceiling fan are very most, especially to add ventilations inside the structure during, lalo na kapag mainit or tag-init ang panahon. And then we have the fluorescent lamp, which is common in the Philippines. We also have speakers sa ceiling. Okay, so hindi man mostly napapansin ang mga speakers sa mga structure, pero sa mga buildings such as malls, so maraming mga speakers ang nakikita natin doon. Okay, we also have heat detector. It also adds sprinklers sa inyong ceiling if there is, kapag may kailangan na heat detector and fire sprinklers. Okay, so these are the things you have to remember. Some of the things that you have to consider when during planning. All you have to do, if you want this copy, you just mag-comment na lang po sa section, and then I'm going to upload this to you personally via Facebook. Okay po? Let's go on how to conduct or the steps of procedure in drafting reflected ceiling plan. Now, as you can see here, very familiar. We already have our floor plan, roof plan, and then here we are going to have our what we call the reflected ceiling plan. So I already have set the center lines for our work kasi kasali naman talaga siya. So I'm going to change right now, find lines, and then I'm going to type ML, enter. Okay, so before we proceed, ML, enter, S, enter. Change the thickness of the wall again into 0.15 that we usually do because this is the thickness of the wall. Enter, then press J, enter. Then we have 0, and then click on the definite spaces or walls na kailangan nating mai-represent. Now, as you can see, hindi ko siya ginamit ng thick lines because this is not our focus for today. We're going to focus more on the partitions of the ceiling. So, even moldings or what we call cornice, yan ang maging concentration natin. So, click here, click for the representation of the wall, and then click here for the porch, and then once nandito na po, automatic explode the drawing. So trim, as always, that we are always doing in our AutoCAD works. So edges must be trims down here, and then continue the same process hanggang matapos natin ang pagtitrimming para maging malinis ang output natin. Okay, so there you have it already, the position of the placement of the walls. Now I'm going to also add here rec for the position of what we call the roofing. So offset ako ng 1.2 going outside. So this represents as the roofing that we are going to have in our structure. Now, if you want automatically indicate the gutter line, so hindi naman na siya kailangan kasi ilalagyan pa natin siya ng Soffit dito. Okay, make sure na sa under 0.20 siya. Pero iisa-isahin muna natin. Now that we have already here the position of this placement, no, it's up for us to place ano-ano nga ba mayroon sa loob ng ceiling natin. So that we have here, one of the most common thing that we are using is the light bulb or what we call convenience outlet. So here I have already spared the convenience outlet symbol. I'm just going to copy this one. So of course, ituturo ko pa rin to, pero way back pa sa pagdating natin sa electrical. So meron na kasi kaming prerequisite drawing. So it's up for you where you're going to place the light bulbs dito. Okay, so usually unahin natin sa porch. If you want one, pwede lang. Take note ha, we are not discussing here about the electrical or lighting plan. We are discussing here is the placement and positions of the bulbs on a ceiling. Okay? On a ceiling plan. So, ibig sabihin, pinapakita na natin dito kung saan-saan banda may mga lightings ang structure. Okay? So, just to make clear. Okay? So, copy lang natin to. Kayo na bahala kung ilan lines ang gusto ninyo or ilan bulbs ba, I'm sorry. Convenience outlet ang gusto nyo sa isang structure. Okay? So, if you want a different design, it's up to you to where to place it. There's no definite measurement, pero ideal position and places it is very important to place them strategically. Okay? So, kung gusto ko dito, pwede. Sa isa sa toilet and bathroom, pwede. Now, for bedroom, if you want to, kayo na rin bahala. Okay? So, if you want here, and then, if you want to place add bulb sa labas, up to you din. Kasi kung meron siyang representation. Now, say for example, in front, on the side, say for example here, opposite side, and then sa gitna. Okay? So, that is placing of bulbs. Now, what symbols also should I add? You can add also heat detector symbol. If you want to add the heat detector symbol, you're going to type polygon here, enter, and then you choose 6 because it's a hexagon, enter, click, and then just drag to place the position. So, for example, ganito, click, and then type text to add definition, and then say for example, I'm going to place here SD, which represents as the smoke detector. So, for safety purposes natin, 0.15, I'm going to type here 0.15, and then place the text inside the symbol. Okay, kung hindi kasya, you can just adjust that text. Okay, so we already have here, commonly, smoke detector are being placed inside or malapit sa may kusina kasi doon palagi ang nagluluto. So, if smoke detector is placed here, pwede din siya. Okay? So, depende na lang kung gusto niyo ng smoke detector. Pero commonly sa mga structure, they are just being placed as somewhere here. Okay, now, the next thing we're going to do is to place cornice or moldings inside the structure. Meron din naman, gumagawa pa ng interior recess or what we call going inside ang ceiling, lalo na yung mga modernized. Pwede din siyang lagyan. Pero sa atin, again, we try to make it as simple as possible because this is just for basic purposes only. So ngayon, gagawa ko ng moldings para dito. Now, when you add moldings in a real life situation, it adds depth to the interior structure of the house. Nagkakaroon talaga ng depth or what we call, should I say, mas nagiging what's the proper term for this? It becomes more elegant, no? Kapag meron siyang molding, it really adds depth. Yun ang gusto ko talaga sabihin. Okay? So, ML tayo is, I'm going to change the scale into 0.05. Okay? Kasi 0.05 is about 2 inch, but if you want 0.1, pwede nyo naman. Kasi 4 inch molding. Okay? Maraming mga 4 inch molding. And then, enter. This time I'm going to choose J, and then I'm going to click top because I'm going to start here. Now I'm going to change my layer into wall because yun ang concentration ko. So here, click on back to add moldings inside the structure. Then press C to close. So it adds already a molding inside the structure. Now if gusto nating lagyan ng somewhere here na rectangular objects, I'm going to create a rec somewhere here para sa konting design. So offset ng 0.6, that is commonly and standard na ginagamit. I-erase na dito siya, and then offset tayo ng 0.05 going inside. So if you want, you can edit the size or the position of this. If you want, gusto mo isa lang on the middle. Okay? And then this one, if you want to erase, pwede din siya. So, this is one of the what we call the design kapag meron kayong gawing interior ang inyong ceiling. So, dito na naman, I'm going to continue the creating of, if you want sa CR, pwede din nyo siyang lagyan. Click, enter. And then sa kwarto naman, you could add the same thing para sa inyong molding sa loob ng kwarto. Sa porch naman, you may do so. Even outside of the structure, pwede din siya natin lang lagyan ng concrete or what we call wood molding. There are times ngayon in the most modern times that we have already the polyvinyl or what we call PVC moldings na merong available sa industry. So, ML ulit ako and I'm going to type justification. I'm going to choose bottom. So, para sa labas, meron akong molding din para sa ating munting bahay. Okay, so, once na dito na, just press close to add moldings here. Now, for example, I'm going to erase this one and then I'm going to create lines here to center my work. Now, not necessarily kailangan talaga to siya. Okay? Pero most of my working drawings, meron siyang nakalagay na description sa loob. Okay? So, here, I'm going to change these lines into my thinnest and then choose section. Then, click a line. Okay? For the ceiling joist position. So, ceiling joist usually, the standard or the ideal measurement that we usually use for ceiling joist is 0.6 by 0.6. So, here, it looks like the same sa foundation plan, right? Pero, it talks more or it describes more about ceiling joist inside the ceiling. Ito yung mga woods or metals na hindi nyo nakikita or ginagamit kung saan isa ay didikit ang inyong ceiling material. So, this is what we call the ceiling joist. Now, not also to forget, no, the position of the soffit. Soffit are always placed outside the eave line, okay, sa labas ng roofing, sa baba, somewhere here, okay, even dito, nakalagay. So, this is used to release the ventilation. It serves as a ventilation to allow the heat and cold inside the roofing and in between roofing and ceiling para may daanan ng labas ng init at saka lamig. Okay? So, also if you want to add somewhere here, gusto nyo rin siya lagyan ng konting design dito, you may do so. Okay? Say for example, gusto ko lagyan ng moldings din dito. So, offset 0.6 here. And then, erase this one. I'm going to place, erase this. Offset ng 0.05 for moldings. And then, you can just copy this one and place it into your most desired position. Now, this one, I can place this somewhere here para sa kanyang paglagay ng ceiling. So, we already have here a sample of roofing or what we call ceiling placement. So, the only thing that is missing here para sa ilagay natin dito ang kanyang soffit. So, commonly, soffit here, I'm going to type rec 0.4 by 0.8. Pwede naman. Pero meron din mga casing material ngayon, lalo na sa mga steel tech, which they use spandrel, lalo na din sa labas. It has already have holes or ventilation sa loob ng mga spandrels. Pwede rin siya. Pero kung sample lang talaga nung sinaunang style, they are using what we call the soffit. So, offset ako dito ng 0.025 or 1 inch. Okay. Offset 0.025 going inside. And I'm going to change this as fine lines. And then I'm going to hatch this. Okay. I'm going to hatch this area. I'm going to choose an angle of 135 and then I'm going to use ANSI 131 and then adjust the scale into 0.5. Okay, meron din namang ginagamit nito net. Pero sa details na lang natin siya ipapakita soon. Okay? So once you're done, just press enter, highlight everything. I'm going to change this into fine lines. Okay. Now, I'm going to move this drawing somewhere here. And then I'm going to move around this by 0.4. And then I'm going to move again this line here about ng 0.4. Okay, so this is the proper placement. Now, some, they are having only until 0.2 dito sa baba. Dito naman, kayo nang bahala. Okay, so say for example, I'm going to copy this one sa kabila. Okay, move this object here, move this object by 0.4, move this object by 0.4. Then we already have the two ventilations here. Then, not to forget, to make it balance, I'm going to copy the same measurement, same drawing pala dito sa taas, sa front, and then I'm going to adjust them, move here by 0.4. So we already have the what we call the placement of Soffit detail. Now we are usually having this as placing a line and then place a hatch, then type a text here, see Soffit details. Okay. So this is one of the things that you have to remember, because everything in a working drawing must be properly detailed. Okay, so that is one that you have to remember in working drawing, lalo na sa reflected ceiling plan. So see Soffit detail, and then so move the drawing here. Okay, I'm going to change these properties into text. Now, it's up to you where you are going to place this. Not necessarily dito talaga kailangan. So, if you want to place them into other direction, pwede din siya. Now, it's time for us to annotate the drawing. So, indicate na natin ang mga measurements. But before we proceed, I'm going to place the grid lines first. Okay. Copy. Place them already in the middle. Okay. So, this one, I'm going to copy the vertical grid lines. Copy. Specify base point, and then I'm going to place them somewhere here. Then just extend the center lines para mas maging proper ang ating drawing. So, we already indicated the position of this. Now, ang concentration ng measurement natin ngayon is the placement of the what we call the ceiling positions. Okay? So, place dimensions, DLI, click here to the inner to place dimensions, then DCO, placement, you can place them here, DLI, through here, 0.60, okay, it should be somewhere here pala, okay, it should be 0.60, and then DCO here, dito 1.2, dito, and dito. Then, same procedure, going vertical. Okay, so if there are some mistakes that you have observed along the way, no? So for example, this is a mistake here. So it should be 0.55. So offset 0.05. I can adjust this into 0.60. So ito, tatanggalin. And then I'm going to place it somewhere here. Okay, so move this drawing, which gives it a 0.60 difference. So offset 0.05 for the cornice, or what we call the molding, and then highlight this one, DCO or this DLI, click, drag backwards, DCO, dimension continue, then this one. So copy, match the drawing here, here. So DLI, continue here. Then, proceeding to the next part. Dito, papunta rito. 1.15. Then, DLI. I'm sorry, DCO. DLI for this interior part. Hanggang sa matapos natin ang entire drawing process. So, DLI. And then, for the upper part, placement like this. Okay, so we already have here the, now if you have to also place the measurement of the soffit, okay, you may do so. Okay. So, once nandito na, you can just adjust the measurements, place them. If you want inside sa structure talaga, pwedeng pwede. If you want to place them outside, you have also the privilege to place it outside the structure. Okay, so I'm just repeating the same procedure para maging malinis ang ating working drawing. So always remember, neatness, accuracy, speed, readability are the core criteria in a working drawing. Everything has meaning in working drawing. Kaya kailangan, as you observe sa ating professors, when you submit drawings at maraming mga markings, which means you could ask yourself na may mali talaga. So, which is talagang may mali. Now, if you'll ask me in a teacher's view, in a coach view, everything that you place inside the structure or inside the drawing, sa drawing ninyo, kapag may mga markings, automatic ninamark namin yan. Simply by, again, everything that you place inside the drawing or on your output has meaning. Okay? So, kaya minsan tinatanong question mark man, tapos kino-comment. That is part of the process. And then, soon you will realize, as you develop the discipline in your manual or in your AutoCAD work, you are very meticulous with your process of your output. Okay? You are very meticulous with the process of your output, which becomes a very core discipline when you are submitting working drawings. So, made-develop pa rin naman yan. Okay. So, proceeding here to end our task here. Now, some, they are using hatching methods. For example, dito. So, some of the designers, they use hatch method. So, I'm going to use hatch here, which represents as wood or PVC wood panel. So, I'm going to use here. I'm going to type 45. And then I'm going to increase the size by, say for example, 1.5. Okay, or even 2. Okay, 2 as a representation of wood panels, okay, or what we call PVC panels. Some they are using it this way. Some they are just describing this. Okay, so minsan if you do not want to place it here, pwede naman siya dito sa loob. Hatch natin siya. Dito natin siya ilalagay. Or depende kung anong style and techniques na gusto ninyong ilagay sa inyong reflected ceiling plan. And then you are going to describe it, okay, sa inyong output. So here, so I'll just stick with an ANSI 131, and then I'm going to use 135 horizontal as a what we call representation of wood panels. If you want, you can adjust by 1.5 or 1.7, depende sa inyo kung gusto ninyo. Okay, so then we have here, it's time for us to place the material description to our work. So before moving there, I'm going to place here right away the title of the drawing, and then I'm going to type reflected ceiling plan. So hilain lang natin para magkasya sa isang word. And then sir, may nagtanong, sir, pwede bang ref lang with period? Pwede din naman. Okay? Meron din naman RCP lang nilalagay, pero mas maganda yung kompleto na lang din. So move this move this text into the middle, and then it's time for us to describe the following material. So MLD, the first thing is dito. Okay, MLD, I'm going to change this into text, MLD, and then click here. Going dito, I'm going to type this description as gamitin natin yung sinaunang style, 2x2 wood, 2x2 wood joist spaced at 0.60 meters both ways. Okay, so meron namang mga ceiling joist, ang pinakamura ngayon, which is use of metal. So pinakabago yun siya. Okay, so we have here next description that you're going to have. So you can also add on top or dito sa baba lahat. Okay, so for example dito, continuous dito, should I say PVC polyvinyl chloride wood panel finish. Okay, so baba lang natin para makita. And then if you want, dito naman sa taas, I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to describe this material as Hardiflex, or what they call fiber cement board, paint finish. Okay, and then here for our cornice, I'm going to type here 4-inch wood cornice or PVC cornice. Okay, then click. And then if you need to add more, pwede din siya sa labas din. If you want to add more details sa labas, pwede din siya. Okay, here say for example spandrel ba, or sige, pinaka basic na lang din, cement fiber, fiber cement paint finish. So which means these fiber cement are gypsum boards, either Same procedure that must be used here. If you want to describe also yung Soffit, meron tayong separated detail dyan. So, if you want to add a Soffit detail, automatic dito, pwede na naman siya. But we are going to only to concentrate ngayon ang layout lang muna ng reflected ceiling plan. So, as you observe, we are done with our task here with reflected ceiling plan. All you have to do is to plot your output. Okay, now, do not forget also to indicate legends. Some, they're indicating legends, pero most of the time, these legends na nakalagay dito can be found already on electrical works. Okay? So, hindi na kailangan mandatory, pero kapag kailangan talaga na there are specific materials that you have to indicate here, definitely you need to indicate legends for the different symbols that has been included in your drawing works. Okay? So, I'm going to copy this output sa model space na lang muna, and then erase this reflected ceiling plan. I'm going to copy the reflected ceiling plan there. I'm sorry, it was not reflected ceiling plan, it was roof plan. Okay, so place the drawing. If it's not on center, just move the drawing on center for your output. Okay, so once satisfied, change the title, reflected ceiling plan. Move the output, the text, to make it on center. Then check the informations needed. If you are done, it's time for you to plot your output. So plot ANSI full bleed A. So Windows, I'm going to click here to the opposite side, and then if you want monochrome, let's check out first kung ano itsura niya sa monochrome. Then we have our output for in monochrome. So this is the output for reflected ceiling plan. Okay? So tapos na po tayo dyan. And then if you want to check it out also on monochrome, I'm going to choose AutoCAD. I'm sorry, monochrome pala kanina, no? It was on A. If you want to check your output on AutoCAD, apply to layout and then preview. This is our output on AutoCAD form. Okay? So always remember, before you plot, check out also this panel here if naka landscape ba, ang custom paper size, uncheck ba siya, the custom scale must be into millimeter or in inches, but it must be into 2.54. Okay? So check natin. If there are no more corrections, then you are good to go to submit your work. If there are corrections, you just edit right away before you are going to submit to your professor. Okay? So I hope you learned something from me today. I hope that I can upload more videos. Sa mga nanonood, if you like this video, kindly give it a like. Paki-share na lang din and subscribe. Now again, I always give thanks to those who support us. Again, the primal objective of this, or the prime objective of our channel, is to cater the needs of learnings for our high school, senior high school, and even college students, especially in educating them in technical drafting and AutoCAD operations. This is Coach Jean once again, and I am happy to serve you. God bless you, and till to our next tutorial, which will be focusing more on elevation. God bless you, stay safe, and mabuhay po tayong lahat.